And so we are urging mandatory evacuation for the people of Limler, Windward, and Dover. That's in Carriacou. On that coastal area, Limler, Windward, Carriacou, we ask that the people who are living in those areas that you evacuate to higher ground or to the nearest shelter because of the storm surge. Now there's a dangerous storm surge. The seas are very high, and so the people at, again, Limler, Windward, and Dover, okay, as indicated, and this is information from the Emergency Operations Center, that's the District Emergency Operations Center at Carriacou. They have urged that the people of Limler, Windward, and Dover, okay, please evacuate at this time. Now, there is no electricity on Carriacou and Petite Martinique at this time, in most areas of Carriacou and Petite Martinique, and there are reports of fallen trees, etc., and that's on Carriacou and Petite Martinique. So again, the people who live on the coast, the coastal area, Limler, Windward, Carriacou, that area, on the coastal area, you are asked to evacuate at this time. You're asked to go to higher ground. You're asked to seek shelter at higher ground because of the life-threatening surge that is there currently. So there's life-threatening surf, okay, life-threatening surf on the coast, and the waves are pretty high, and so the people of Limler, Windward, and Dover, I repeat, Limler, Windward, and Dover. So if you have any contact with people living in Limler, Windward, and Dover, if you have any contact with these people who are living in those areas, please get the message out to them that they should evacuate at this time. So we urge that they evacuate because, again, this is about saving lives and reducing damage to property. And there's life-threatening storm surge, and so we ask that you evacuate. It is mandatory that you evacuate at this time.
Mr. Walters, I want to thank you for that update. You mentioned that persons are being asked to move to higher ground. Is it that there would be shelters in those areas, or are we asking them to find whatever shelter possible at this time in higher ground?
Yes, we're asking them to find whatever shelter that is available in higher ground, and so the emergency shelters on Carriacou are open. So if they can get to the shelters, we ask them to please do so. And also, yes, if they can, go to a neighbor or family or friend who's at higher ground, we ask that they please do that.
In terms of assistance for persons who may be immobile or so, would the team in Carriacou, because I know you have a team out there, of course, would they be providing some sort of assistance, the police or anything like that?
Right. So they can contact the Emergency Operations Center or the Royal Grenada Police Force in Carriacou, and to see if there's any assistance that can be provided at this time.
And what's the number for assistance that we can call?
Well, I would have to give you a number for the. Let me pull up the number here.
We shall be patient to wait because we need that, of course.
Let me pull up this number for. We can give you the number for Ms. Date at the Emergency Operations Center. It's 423-0791. So that's Ms. Bernie's Date. Mm-hmm. She's the Community Program Officer. 423-0791, and you can call. So if you are in need of assistance to move, to evacuate, okay. So again, Limler, Windward, and Dover on the coastline of Carriacou, you're asked that we ask that you evacuate, and so you can take the necessary steps now to evacuate.
And what should they leave with in evacuating right now?
Again, as much as you can. Okay, if you can't, because again we're about saving lives. Yes. So sometimes because of the circumstances, you may have to leave without anything.
Exactly.
Okay, but you can leave. If you have medication, you can leave with your medication. If you, like any food, non-perishable food that you can leave with, things like that. Kindly ensure that you do that. Whatever you think is necessary, you can do that. But if for some reason you have to rush off without going with anything, you please do that. But now is a time for you to evacuate those areas.
You need to
so
move.
that you need to move. You need to move from Limleh, Windward, and Dover.
Thank you so much, Mr. Walters. Of course, viewers, we will keep you updated further for any incidences that are happening or any evacuations that need to be done. Remember, people living in the Windward, Limleh, and Dover areas are being asked to evacuate immediately. We would have hoped that in your preparations, you would have had your kits ready and a bag packed and a bit of food and so on. We're asking you to grab these things, secure your home, and leave immediately to higher ground. If you are in need of transportation, then we're asking you to call Miss Date on 423-0791, who would assist you thereafter in getting to higher ground. We're asking you to get to the shelters, or if there is a neighbor or a friend or so close by that you can shelter with, we're asking you to do that, but you need to leave now. We will keep you updated. Thank you very much, Mr. Walters, for that very important update. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we want to share with you some video footage. We had a team out in the field early this morning, checking up on some of the shelters here on mainland Grenada, and we'd like to share with you some of that information. So please do not leave. We'll be right back.
So we're here at the Hapview Secondary School, one of the shelters where persons are filing in for to wait out the Hurricane Beryl, and I'm here with Siobhan. Siobhan, can you give us a synopsis as to what the situation is like here in terms of the amount of people who came in thus far?
Well, Sherry, the thing is we have about 84 residents here at this point. We have a lot of children. The age range varies. We have babies right up to 70, in the 70s, someone in the 70s.
Yeah.
So yes, we have a wide range of residents here. At the moment, everybody's calm, anticipating what's to come. We just remain prayerful and we just remain hopeful.
In terms of the persons who have filed in thus far and registered with you and so on, did they come with supplies, and do you think that they have what is the basic needs to rally them through?
Yes, the majority of them came with basic, obviously not enough for any long period, but definitely to carry us through the night. Nadma came with blankets, which is very helpful because some did not have bedding.
Okay.
We questioned persons about their health status. Most of them who have health conditions, they do have their medication and they are prepared. They are generally prepared. I must commend them, they are generally prepared. And so as things go by, of course, we may need some food and things like that, but it seems to me at this point that
everything is on the point.
Yes, at least for the next 24 hours, we're good.
And once they file in and they register, do they understand the rules and the regulations? Because I know sometimes some people like to walk along with their pets and all these different things. So how is that aspect in terms of management of the shelter?
Yes, well, I think a lot of Grenadians are aware of a lot of the basic rules. You know, the social media is out there, so a lot of information is out there. So they are aware. The shelter manager in the beginning did explain some of the basic rules about no pets, no alcohol, no bottles, those kinds of things. And so far we have not had a problem. So I think the focus right now is just remaining safe at this time.
And are you still welcoming people? Because as I mentioned before, it's just about minutes to 7. We were expecting, the brunt of the stuff to start around 8 to 9, thereabout. Do you still, or would you still like to make a clarion call to residents within this area whose homes are not structurally strong to come out to the shelter?
Well, yes. Well, we do understand that we are under a state of emergency, so you only move at this point as necessary. So we're very happy for the 84 residents who saw it best to come out prior to this weather. But we do understand that how people may feel, and you may change your mind later on. So I want to encourage people in the area that if at this point you realize, or you change your mind and you realize, okay, you need to get to a safer shelter, please. We have Happy Secondary School, we have Happy Primary School. We heard last night that there's a lot of availability in the 3 Montgomery shelters. Please make your way to one of them. Safety is the best. Safety is priority right now.
Thank you so much. That was one of the volunteers, and the service that you're giving, it's applaudable. We thank you. You're out here. You're ensuring that persons who need assistance get the necessary assistance as we await the arrival of Hurricane Beryl. Viewers, we're just going to take a short pause so that we can get a little cover as to what's happening at Hatfield. You would see persons sitting along the veranda, and so quite calm and collective as they await the storm. Another of the volunteers here at the Hatfield Secondary School shelter is Kimani Latouche. Kimani, first and foremost, thank you for your service. Kimani is someone who is physically challenged, and he's out here trying to help to ensure that everyone remains safe. What I would like from you now is a clarion call. What it is you would like to say to others. Just speak to Grenadians in general. This is serious. We're literally down to the wire. If they've still got time and they need to go to a shelter, to encourage them to go out to the various shelters.
1, please people move. If you determine that your house is not structurally sound, move. 2, if at all you see electrical wires on the ground, I'm saying this because I'm a qualified electrician, do not touch it, right? These wires are heavily loaded with power. If you touch it, you'll be putting your life at stake. Do not touch it. Please, careful how you're passing. If you see water, don't walk through it, but try to get to the shelter as soon as possible.
So you per se, how satisfied are you that you would have done what you had to do at home so that now you can sit here comfortably and assist?
Yeah, I am satisfied. I mean, this is my second storm. Ivan catch me with Grenada Coast Guard. So I have learned a lot. I have did a lot of training with NADMA. So it has, all in all, it has assisted me in terms of getting things done at the right time, to be able to move around, to be able to be where I need to be at that time. Yeah?
All right, thank you so much, viewers. That was Kimani Latouche. She shared with us some very important pointers as to what we should not do after the storm has passed. If you see power lines on the ground, try not to touch them. Please stay indoors and do wait for the all clear.
Hello, viewers, and welcome back to our live broadcast. This is Tracking Hurricane Beryl. We thank you for remaining with us and tuning in to all our live updates. Right now, we have a lineup of interviews from different stakeholders at the National Emergency Advisory Council. And we're going to be speaking with one of the members very soon. But I would just like to recap a recent update that we provided from the National Disaster Coordinator, Dr. Terence Walters. An emergency evacuation order has been issued for residents of Wynwood, Limleh, and Dover on the sister isle of Carriacou. All residents in that area in those areas actually have been instructed to move to higher ground. This is due to the effects of a very dangerous storm surge in that coastal area. Reports from the Sister Isle also indicate that there is no electricity in most areas in Carriacou and Petit Martinique. There have also been reports of falling trees. If anyone requires assistance to evacuate their homes, please contact Ms. Date on telephone number 423-0791. So we are encouraging all residents in the areas of Limleh, Wynwood, and Dover to evacuate immediately. The storm surge in that area is very dangerous, and we would like to minimize as much loss as is possible. If you need assistance to move, because we know sometimes we have people that are immobile or so, you can contact Ms. Date on telephone number 423-0791. We hope that those listening, if you have friends or family in those areas, you can contact them and let them know that an evacuation order has been issued and that they should move to higher ground as soon as is possible. I want to thank you very much, Mr. Danrang Ramkalawan. He is the Senior Environmental Officer at the Ministry of Health, and he will be talking to us a bit about his role on the NEAC, which is the National Emergency Advisory Council. Welcome, Mr. Ram. I know you very much as Mr. Ram. Thank you for being here with us. And you have been with us for the last couple of hours, weathering the storm, so to speak. I want you to just share with our viewers what is your role on the NEAC so that they understand what's happening.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Good morning to the viewers. As my colleague indicated, my name is Danraj Ramkalawan. I'm a Senior Environmental Health Officer with the Ministry of Health, and I am representing the Ministry of Health at the NEAC here today. Now, our role at the NEAC basically is to coordinate health response before, during, and post, disaster or emergency. And basically, our mandate basically is to ensure that the needs of our people are being met medically, all right, and from other public health standpoint. Now, at the Ministry of Health, we have activated our Health Disaster Committee. All heads of department are on board. We have a WhatsApp chat where we communicate and we make decisions and so forth. And our communities, or each parish, the health disaster team has been activated, and we are ready to respond to this event. All right. In addition to that, our hospitals are ready. Our community health services are also ready. Environmental health pharmacy, everyone at the ministry is on board and ready to respond to ensure that our citizens' needs are being met in this event.
I understand that. I should ask probably first of all, have all our health professionals, those who are on vacation or so, been put on alert to respond in case there is a need?
I would say yes, because this is part of our protocol. It's part of our health disaster plan, which has been activated.
Okay.
Once that is activated, our health disaster committee is activated, and that is one of the procedures that have to be targeted to ensure that if any of our health professionals are down or cannot respond, that we have that additional hand on board to ensure that we meet the needs of our people.
Yesterday, while our GIS team was moving around, we stopped at the ministerial complex and we saw that we had some officials from the ministry preparing what you call those grab bags or something like that.
Yes.
And they were distributing it to their staff and so, which would mean that every health professional within the ministry or so, wherever they are in their communities, have tools on them that they can assist persons in need. I guess as much explain to us how the grab bag
Well,
works.
the grab bag, I know yesterday was for a particular department. Before that, once a committee is activated, the relative staff under, for example, environmental health, for example, community health services, which are the nurses, the public health nurses, hospital services, the managers and so forth would inform their staff what needs to be done, because there is a disaster kit that each staff is supposed to ensure that they have in place and ready to respond.
Okay. Have you received any updates though from our community health stations or the hospital or so? Any issues in those areas, or it's been good so far?
So far, it's good. Just minor issues. We had one gentleman in Lafayette who, went into a shelter and fell in the bathroom and, had some lacerations. And he was transported to Princess Alice, where he was sutured and so forth. He's in stable condition. I just had an update from Carriacou. We had one person with diabetes who needed medication, and one person with a stroke. And those two persons has been referred to the Princess Royal Hospital, and they are, I do not have information on them currently, but they are being looked after basically. Now, these are conditions that you would normally expect people to move into the shelters with. And prior to that, the disaster kit, we have been doing this for years, since Ivan, Emily, and over the years. I know NADMA has been doing a great job. Health has been, telling, doing our public education or PR at the clinics and so forth to these individuals. In case we are faced with a pending emergency, you need to ensure that you have, medication for at least 3 to 5 days. All right? And these are things that people must, adhere to. Post-event now, post-emergency, the ministry would respond in a certain way, in which we would advise the public, where they can access health services. If any of our health facilities are damaged, then we'll be reassigned communities to, a particular health service, which is closer to them or not. All right? So persons can, get the necessary health care that they require. In addition to that, there is environmental health services. We very immediately after an emergency, post-disaster, we prioritize food safety, water quality, vector control, general sanitation. We look at, let's say, dead animals, and so forth within the community, right? Solid waste, collection and disposal and so forth. So these are some of the key things we normally look for to ensure that, our environment remains in a stable condition and do not pose a threat to human health otherwise. And then there is pharmacy. Pharmacy, they normally respond to ensure that, persons have the necessary medication and so forth. Within our health disaster plan, before the beginning of June, we normally procure emergency medical supplies, especially for events like these. So in case there is a surge or there's a surge for our request for medication in situation like this, we ensure that we have adequate supply and we do not run out, so we can meet the needs of our people.
I understand that clearly. Thank you for that. In terms of the post-hurricane period, what would be the health response thereafter?
Wow. Yeah, well, the health response, most of it I mentioned just now. We would do a couple of key things. We will add to that what I already mentioned is our public education, our messages to our people. All right? Key things, food safety, water quality is a key part of this. We want to ensure that, we have potable and good quality water to to our people to avoid, gastrointestinal diseases and other waterborne diseases. Food safety to avoid foodborne diseases. We advise people, how to store water at home if they don't have access to potable water. What they can do, boil water. You can use chlorine in the water. And there are standards that we use. 2 to 3 drops per gallon, 2 to 3 ounces per 52 gallon and so forth.
Okay.
And you leave for half an hour. You can also use other mechanism, but these are the 2 trusted ones that we can adequately recommend at this point in time. All right. The messages, if there is requests for others, we would see the need for that particular community once we do our rapid assessment, and then we would advise accordingly, and respond accordingly to it.
Wonderful. Mr. Ram, I want to thank you for dropping by. I know that as time progresses and connectivity allows us, we'll definitely be back here for more updates. So thank you. And we just want to say hats off to the great work that the Ministry of Health is doing. Yesterday we passed by some of the clinics and hospitals and we saw full staff out and everybody was just in high spirits, encouraging themselves. And we know it's hard when you have to leave your family at home to come out to look after the nation, but it's a sacrifice that they make and we are really appreciative of that. So thank you very much to you and all of our hardworking health professionals.
Right.
Thank you very much.
One last message I would like to leave though. Persons who are accessing health services or healthcare post-event, please, give our staff the full attention. Listen to them. Not just you alone are stressed. They would be stressed. They would be overwhelmed also. So, to avoid any, confrontations and so forth, let's, address this in a holistic manner so everyone wins, and everybody
That's
get
right, yeah.
the same care that they are required.
Yes.
Thank you.
A little patience and grace shall go
Yes.
a long way. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much,
All
Mr. Ram. Thank you very much. Our viewers, before we let Mr. Ram go, we would just like to remind you of the emergency evacuation order that has been issued for residents of Wynwood, Limleh, and Dover on the sister isle of Carriacou. All residents in that area have been instructed to move to higher ground. This is due to the effects of a very dangerous storm surge around that coastal area. Reports from the sister isle also indicate that there is no electricity in most areas in Carriacou and Petite Martinique, and there have also been reports of fallen trees. If you need assistance or know of someone in that area that would need assistance to evacuate from their home in terms of transportation, please reach out to Miss Date on telephone number 423-0791. Our thoughts and prayers are out to our sisters and brothers on the sister isle of Carriacou and Petite Martinique. We are all in this together and we hope to emerge on the other side well after all of this is over. So stay with us. We'll be right back with more updates from various members of the NEAC. Welcome back, viewers. I want to thank you all for staying tuned to this broadcast. As we promised earlier, we will continue to keep you updated as much as possible. The information is coming in fast, and as soon as we get that and we are able to tally everything, of course, we will keep you informed and updated. Right now, I have with me the Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Dickon Mitchell, and he will give you a quick update on what's happening with our sisters and brothers in Carriacou and Petite Martinique. So, Prime Minister, over to you.
Thank you, and I am not happy to have to report that Carriacou and Petite Martinique are in fact bearing the brunt of Hurricane Beryl thus far. With the reports we have, I want to emphasize things are fluid. We're giving you the information as we get it, so some of it will still be subject to verification, and because communication is now a challenge, there may be delays in terms of us being able to do so. But I want to emphasize that as it stands right now, both Carriacou and Petite Martinique are without power. Communications are a challenge also. We expect that internet and data are down as well. There is obviously still some mobile use that is taking place, but communication is becoming more and more challenged. We have several reports of down power lines, fallen trees, and houses that are losing their rooftop. In fact, the Member of Parliament for Petite Martinique and Carriacou has indicated to me he's currently at the Emergency Operating Center. They are operating on generator backup electricity. They have no electricity, and he's indicating that even his home may be compromised. So it does appear that we may have extensive damage in Petite Martinique and Carriacou, both to physical infrastructure as well as to the homes of persons. At this time, we do not have any reports of any injuries to persons or any loss of life. We remain prayerful that when the hurricane blows over, that will still be the case. But the situation is dangerous. It is bad. It's likely that persons are going to have to try to move while the storm is still over. We are going to try and minimize this as much as possible. There are significant reports of storm surge in the northern part of Carriacou, particular areas like Limlea, Dover, and Windward. So we have issued a mandatory evacuation for persons who are in the coastal areas of these regions. In terms of response, the Ministry of Finance is authorized to do everything it can to ensure that resources are available to Petite Martinique and Carriacou. I've already instructed Minister Andrew and his team there to identify local hardware suppliers who may be able to supply tarpaulins, lumber, water, supermarkets that may be able to supply canned foods and other preserved foods, so that we can give a commitment to these entities that they can, as soon as it's safe to do so, immediately deploy support services and goods to persons affected. The Housing Authority has been instructed to hand over the keys to the Chinese-built affordable homes in Carriacou to make sure that if they are required, that they will be available to house persons temporarily during this period. We're also coordinating with our regional partners, if necessary, so that once the seas are calm and we have a sense of whether the airport is usable, to be able to provide additional relief support in Carriacou and Petite Martinique. But of course, our priority is the safety of our brothers and sisters in Carriacou and Petite Martinique, and we are going to work closely with the business community in Carriacou and Petite Martinique to give them the first option to be able to supply any of the goods and services that may be on island, and we will do so as quickly as possible. We are hoping, as the prediction said, we expected today to be the real challenge. We are hoping that by late evening that the hurricane would have moved on and that we would be in a position to have a greater sense of assessing the challenges in Carriacou and Petite Martinique. But I want to stress that Grenada is also not safe. The hurricane is a long way from being over, and it's important for us to make sure that we stay vigilant, that we remain indoors, and that we continue to look out for one another.
Thank you so much, Prime Minister, for that update. I know that you have been here for quite some time, and you don't seem to be leaving at all, and we thank you for weathering this hurricane with us. As our Prime Minister, before you leave, a number of persons on the live would just want to know, how are you feeling at this moment?
Well, I mean, you obviously wish that the hurricane could have passed without doing any damage. That is obviously not the case, so it clearly is something that obviously is regretted. But for me, my concern is really to make sure that the citizens of Carriacou and Petite Martinique are safe. For now, I am in a safe place, so really I'm fine. We just want to make sure that we can do all that we can to support our brothers and sisters in Carriacou. and to the extent that we have several hundreds of Grenadians who are in shelters here, to make sure that we can provide support to them as quickly as possible as well. We appreciate that although we would have told many of them to walk with food and supplies when moving into the shelters, some would not have done so. And we want to be able to also address that issue as quickly as possible. So we're hoping that the hurricane can blow over quickly, and that by this afternoon we should be in a position to address our citizens who are at the shelters as well. But obviously I don't want to put persons' lives at stake by trying to help persons who are in the shelters. So we are going to have to wait for the hurricane to move on a bit, for the worst part of it to pass before we deploy people in any large numbers in the streets. So I want to urge our citizens who are in the shelters to again remain calm. We are doing everything to support you. We are hoping that by late evening we can get additional relief supplies and goods to them, but we know there are many good Samaritans in the communities who are living close to shelters. Some of them are volunteering to cook and share their food and so on with persons who are in the shelters. So we really expect the Grenadian spirit of unity to come out at this difficult time. We will emerge out of this stronger, more united and better prepared to deal with these types of disasters.
Thank you, Prime Minister. But before you leave, I just want you to reinforce the importance of the evacuation notice that was sent to Carriacou.
No, certainly. I want to re-emphasize the storm surges are dangerous. As you know, Carriacou is to some extent on the coastal part far flatter than Grenada. And we've seen what the storm surges are doing. We want to make sure that persons take this seriously and that they evacuate. As I've said, the Housing Authority will make available the units in Carriacou for temporary accommodation. So don't be worried about whether there is some place for you to go. There is a place for you to go. Even if the top floor of these units blow out, they are 2- and 3-story buildings, so the first and second floor should relatively be safe. And so we just want to encourage persons to take the evacuation order seriously. And obviously, if you do have to evacuate, to make sure that you do so with as little danger or risk to yourself.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister. I would let you leave because I'm sure as we get closer, we will have more updates. So I want to thank the Honorable Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell for sitting with us with this very important update. I remind you to please stay on this live stream. We will be bringing you updates as they come. Please keep safe, keep warm, keep dry, and look out for your neighbors and family. We'll be right back.